Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
Breaking news right now.
Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal with reports of a stolen ambulance. Desmond?
Story, and we just heard about this abruptly with CHP Orange County with this ambulance here. And at first there were reports that there might have been people like hanging out a window or something like that. Well, you can see the back door is open. And now we are hearing that this ambulance is stolen out of the city of Orange. So we are westbound on the 91. We're going to be making our way into LA County. We just crossed the 5 freeway. You see Knott Avenue coming up next. We're up to 80 miles an hour. That side door is open as well. And you also have those side marker lights on, which I believe is kind of unusual as well. Now, there's no authorities behind this immediate right now that we can see. In fact, they're having some kind of issues scrambling an airship. It sounds like they weren't going to be able to get the CHP ship out of Fullerton for at least another 10 minutes. We'll see if anyone else is en route, but a stolen ambulance out of the city of Orange, 85 miles an hour westbound on the 91. Pretty crazy stuff here, Chauncey, Susie, and Mike.
No kidding. Mike Rogers at the desk now with some new information for us. Mike?
Yeah, so as Desmond mentioned, this is City of Orange ambulance. I just got off the phone with CHP. The City of Orange, their fire department has a GPS tracker on this. So they've been knowing, that's where we initially heard it, is because they were giving out the pings to CHP to try to catch up with it. Now we are crossing over soon into LA County, so LA County CHP will have to get involved in this. But they do know where this is at. They obviously know that now we're overhead as well. So they're trying to, as Desmond mentioned, get a helicopter or some sort of aircraft in the air to keep eyes on this. The back is open, and I want to point out the floodlights that Desmond's talking about on the side of the ambulance there. Those are usually activated by the side door. Once they open that side door, that activates the floodlights. You can see that side door is halfway open. So that may be why the floodlights are on. I also noticed from Desmond's earlier shot, we could see the back of it. I don't believe I saw a stretcher back there. So it looks like maybe these medics were probably out on a call doing something with a patient and somebody jumped in. There you see the side door opening again. And this actually has gotten the attention of a ton of people. CHP has been getting call after call after call. And even one of the reports said that somebody was even hanging out the back of it. So it's kind of hard to tell if there's one person or two people in there. The front cab where the whoever stole this is sitting is in there. It's hard to tell if there's two people in there or one. It's pretty dark inside. But there you can see the EKG machine sitting on the ground right there. This is Rescue 4 from the City of Orange Fire Department, stolen as we travel on the westbound 91, entering into the LA County area.
And you can see that ambulance, the side door closing, kind of slides open once in a while. But it just makes you wonder, how did this happen? As you were talking about, Mike, were they out on a call and then they were about to transport someone and this person came in and stole this vehicle? Because then we could be talking about a major medical issue here.
Right.
You know, obviously the ambulances are trying to help people whenever they're out and about. But it's unclear right now what the circumstances exactly were.
It is, yeah. And, you know, unfortunately, this is not the first time that we have seen an ambulance stolen. We've dealt with this with LA City Fire. LA County Fire has an ambulance stolen before as well. So unfortunately, not terribly unusual. I am going to try to see if I can figure out what kind of call Rescue 4 was on prior to this happening. But again, they're using turn signals, as you can see them kind of moving over into the other lane there, but a really bizarre situation.
Mike, do we know exactly where this ambulance was allegedly stolen from?
No, just the City of Orange. And again, the Orange Fire Department, they have a tracker on this. So they know obviously where it was because they have that information for that too. And actually I can tell you, Chapman Avenue, I just found it on their call here. So they were out on some sort of medical emergency here. Let me see if I can get the time. They were out on some sort of medical emergency. Actually, 6:40 is what time Rescue 4 says that they were on this call at Chapman and Rancho Santiago Boulevard. So the program that I'm using here, it gives us different color codes for where the ambulance is going, and it is showing up yellow, which means it was likely en route to the hospital. So it's very possible this was also taken from a local hospital as well, which would again explain why the stretcher's not in there if the paramedics were inside waiting for a room, which is not uncommon. But again, it looks like this all happened. The original call that this ambulance was on, at least at 6:40, was over on Chapman Avenue.
Yeah. Desmond, you were talking about how the CHP was sending their fixed wing in from Fullerton Airport, which is not too far away from where this chase is happening right now. But it might take a little bit. Have you seen any ground units nearby?
No ground units, and just to be clear, not sure if it was going to be the fixed wing or their helicopter that was going to be overhead. And that might have actually been a unit right there on the right shoulder hiding behind that bush. But my intrepid pilot, Mike, did just learn that sheriffs LA County Sheriff's helicopter is about to get overhead on this one. So I think they're going to be the first to be have eyes on this besides us, first as far as law enforcement goes, and they'll be able to guide in any ground events or whoever ends up getting involved in all this. In fact, right on cue, there's the spotlight there from Sheriff's Deputies 24 up here right now. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of calls being made. You know, there were probably already calls being made to CHP in LA County anyway. But I would have to imagine that we're going to see them coming in here sooner rather than later. You can see them really low over this. So yeah, and here comes CHP as well. So they're going to be guiding them in. Now let's see how this suspect responds to all this now, because this is the first that we've seen of authorities being overhead, and a lot of times that's when, you know, we start to see the kind of panic driving, and definitely don't want to see that with a vehicle like this. Obviously, you know, kind of an ungainly vehicle, handles very strange, not going to handle like a typical passenger car or even an SUV. Definitely could be easy to lose control of a top-heavy vehicle like this if the suspect isn't careful. So we're kind of seeing the inside there, what the EMS would be looking at. Looks like that screen there in the middle. Can't tell if there's still only one or two people in the front, but we haven't seen anyone in the back. But they are now lit up, so they definitely know that they are wanted, and we're going to see how the suspects respond now as we make our way into the Bellflower area.
Yeah, and Desmond, you're right. We were just talking to Mike. He talked about folks talking about this alleged stolen ambulance, and he also talked about one person saying that they saw a person in the back of it. Have you seen that?
No, but trying to get. Let's see here. Well, I'll double in. It's
no.
If we get a chance. Yeah, it looks empty back there. And you know, with the doors open, we certainly hope that it's empty back there. So I'm not sure what someone saw. Maybe just kind of in the hectic moment of everything. I mean, sometimes, you know, people call in the CHP and report all sorts of different things that don't end up being the case. So we'll just have to see what happens. We now have multiple units from the ground, and then Sheriff's Deputy helicopter overhead on this one. We had speeds up to 85 miles an hour, kind of down around the speed limit right now. You know, you're gonna have these doors banging about back and forth and stuff. I'm sure that's making kind of, you know, loud, uncomfortable sounds for this suspect as they drive around as well. So just now starting to see how they're gonna behave now that this is an active pursuit.
And Mike, very interesting how the LA County Sheriff's Department was over this. Obviously, they were watching it from when it was in Orange County and thinking ahead that this was traveling in their direction. Yeah,
and they had, so that sheriff's airship came from like the La Mirada, South Whittier area, so they weren't far at all. And just so we're all clear, this is now officially a pursuit. CHP is calling that on the radio. The guy is obviously not pulling over. One thing I wanted to point out too about this style of ambulance, if I'm correct, and I think I am, there's not really a way to connect the cab to the back of the ambulance. So there's, in some of these ambulances, different types of ambulances obviously have different things. Some of them there are full scale, you can shift from the front to the back. These ones though, I don't believe so. I think there may be a small window that they could pass things through. I don't know if it's big enough for anybody to kind of crawl through, if you will. Not that that person would ever do that, but that, wow. But that would, you know, when this comes to an end, you know, there could be a concern that this guy, if the hole is in between is big enough that he could crawl through the back and all of that, that also kind of, you know, changes their tactics once this comes to an end. If this guy ever decides to pull over, and obviously pit maneuver, not a thing.
No way.
You could try spike strips. I don't know, you know, what kind of tires this obviously is designed to be an emergency vehicle. They may have something equipped with it. The other thing is that in these fire apparatus, there is a radio in there. And I can't tell because they're encrypted, but there is a possibility that they could be trying to communicate with this guy through their own radio
system,
channels.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that could be the case right now. It's unclear if there is anyone else in this vehicle, but we do believe that there is no one in the back, as Desmond was trying to peer into the back there and try to get a clear shot of that. But right now, traveling at a high rate of speed on the 91 freeway going west. And as we mentioned, this ambulance was stolen out of Orange County.
And Susie, just real quick, I just want to tell you, we just got confirmation it was stolen from a hospital.
From a hospital.
Yeah, from a hospital.
We heard that the call was from Chapman Avenue, Rancho Santiago, right there, and we believe there is a hospital nearby there, and that's where this ambulance was when it was stolen by this individual and taken on this ride right now. It looks like we're going up to the LA County area from Orange County. We crossed from the 91, crossed the 5 freeway, and still on the 91 right now. And of course, if we keep going, This will take us into the South Bay Area and there, but he has many options to change freeways and interchanges before that. So we'll see where this takes us. But right now, the LA County Sheriff's Department with Arrow overhead and the two
Yep.
units
Just saw a
overhead.
second one on the radar, yeah.
And the CHP on the ground with their units and transitioning. What is this freeway here, Desmond?
Looks like we're going southbound 710, and we're going to have a lot of truck traffic like that truck right there that the suspect just tried to get around. And you saw that kind of weird maneuver earlier, what almost looks like maybe they weren't paying attention. Let's see if we can use this opportunity to get a view inside. There's actually 2 LA County Sheriff's Deputies helicopters that are over this now at the moment. From everything I've been seeing, I think it's just the suspect inside. Haven't seen any other movement in there. That might have been looking at their cell phone or something earlier when they pulled that kind of evasive maneuver. But yeah, we're transitioning southbound 710 now, so we're making our way towards downtown Long Beach, the ports of Long Beach as well, or towards the 405 freeway. We'll see what their next move is going to be. But you now have 2 law enforcement helicopters and at least 3 ground units on this one. And like you said, like Mike was saying, really interesting. Maybe they can take that opportunity to communicate with them over the radios and get them to pull over. But in my experience, anytime you're dealing with someone that kind of steals like a out of the ordinary vehicle like this, if it's a semi or a U-Haul, this is not the first time we've seen an ambulance stolen, unfortunately. A lot of times it's someone that is going through some, really severe issues, mental health problems or drug problems or what have you. So, who knows if they'll have any luck, trying to talk any sense into that person. We'll just have to see how this all shakes out. But we are now southbound on the 710 Long Beach Freeway here, guys.
And we see the doors in the back open and also that door on the side, and no stretcher inside of this ambulance. So that gives, seemingly a good indication that if someone was suffering from a medical emergency at the hospital when this ambulance was stolen, hopefully they were able to get out first. And Mike alluded to this earlier about how, oftentimes we see the firefighters or EMS waiting there on the side while they wait for a bed, or even when they take a patient inside. So maybe that's the first good indication about this, that hopefully if a person was in there needing medical attention, they were able to get out.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like this was too long of a gap between the time that it was stolen and between the time they realized it was stolen, because there were some initial reports that somebody even saw the guy jump in it. So, hopefully, because, my initial thought was maybe these paramedics didn't notice until they came back out after dropping their patient off. But it does sound like somebody witnessed this guy get in. So Orange Fire was able to GPS track it and, guide law enforcement in, which is, of course, how we heard about it. So the good news is it doesn't seem like it was, out running around for too long before they were able to catch up with it. So, I do hear some things about how they want to maybe try to handle this. But again, their options are going to be kind of limited. The other thing when you're talking about, well, now we're kind of getting over here a little bit, but these fire vehicles are generally always on a full tank, right? They don't like to run these things low, and this is a larger vehicle that may have a larger gas tank. So we'll see how long he's able to go if they're not able to bring this to a stop any other way.
The big question that we always ask when we see these interesting or different vehicles in these chases is why this person did this. Desmond was talking about some mental health issues. That could certainly be something that's happening here and to be considered, but also perhaps they're getting away from something. Who knows? Why they stole specifically an ambulance? They could have stolen a car, which they could maybe get away in because it's not as obvious as an ambulance. And it looks like they are pulling over here for the first time.
Yep.
Ground units right behind them.
Right behind them. Yeah, first time we've been at a stop. Let's hope that they thought better of it. If we can get over to the driver's side here. My pilot Mike just navigating SkyCal over to the driver's side. And you can see, actually, kind of surprised that CHP is allowing traffic to go right now. But they are,
hands up.
They're coming out weapons drawn. Oh, look at this. We're going to get a peaceful surrender. So, boy, maybe they were able to get through to this person, or they just thought better of it, or what. But after all of that, I mean, you've got to realize you're not going to be able to run for very long with such a high-profile vehicle. Lifting up his shirt there, looks like he's got some artwork on his stomach.
Looks like he might have a hospital band on.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Oh, yeah, interesting. That's yeah. So
Desmond, where are you?
If this person was just, we are on the southbound 710, right off of Carson Street, so very close to the 405 freeway here. And CHP's got to be stopping lanes now. and it looks like we're going to be having a peaceful surrender here. So pretty good news after the end of a very bizarre pursuit out of Orange County, now in the Long Beach area.
All right, Desmond, thank you. As we see this suspect surrender to police, it does look like he has like the hospital bands on his wrist or something.
Yeah, on one side, maybe like a bandage on the other side or something like that. Yeah,
so maybe he was a patient at the hospital who had access somehow to this ambulance. I mean, that would certainly make sense.
It would, and obviously the city of Orange is now going to have to figure out how this guy got keys, if the keys were left in there, or, you know, the circumstances. Hospitals, in theory, would have a lot of security camera video, so hopefully that'll help them too. But, you know, luckily the city of Orange is going to get their ambulance back without a whole ton of damage to it.
All right, Desmond, thank you so much. 10-4 on this stolen ambulance pursuit.